Hey guys, welcome to the second part of this three-part series of the mod organizer overview. In this video, I'm going to go over how I use it and how to set it up, and hopefully clear up some confusion about it too, so you can use it yourself. And if you haven't already installed it, you might want to go back and check out part one. Also in that video, I recommend a little article that will kind of give you a better idea how mods and CC works in your game, and it will give you a better understanding on how to use the mod organizer as well. So once you're done that, come on back and we'll get started. Okay, just to be clear, I'm not recommending this program for everyone because a lot of players are really set with their CC Magic and or there's the Sims 3 package editor for managing their mods and their CC. I'm just going to go over and show you how I use it and my understanding of it anyways. So first we can, if you want to open up the program, take a look at the user interface, and I'm going to go over some pros and cons first too before I get into how I use it and stuff. So you want to just open up where you extracted all those files, double click the s3mo.exe, so the executable there, and that opens up the user face. Okay, so hopefully you see what you see here on your own computer. I know that there is a lot of people that have had trouble with the user interface, even using Windows 11. I use Windows 11, where they don't see some panels and that. I have no idea. There is a recommendation on, or a suggestion on how to fix it in comments on Mod the Sims surrounding the program. I'll link it below anyway, but I did talk to somebody on Reddit as well that was having the same issue, and I suggested to try that fix out, and I haven't heard back from them yet if it did or not, but hopefully you're not having that issue with it. So first I just want to go over some pros and cons with the program and things you might want to just consider before deciding if it's going to work for you or not, and these are the things that are more important to me as well. All right, so for cons, not having the ability to create nesting folders within the program might be an issue for them, although you can use the program with your mods framework folders. All right, also in which case you cannot disable specific mods depending on how you organize your files. Yeah, so you can't go into a folder and just disable or enable specific mods or CC. The user interface may not seem as user-friendly as CC Magic. I find CC Magic's user interface to be a lot more user-friendly than the I always want to call it Mod the Organizer. I'm not sure why. The mod organizer. Yeah, so it's just something with this user face here, you know, you'll have to get used to it. And actually, in my opinion, it's a lot more simplified as well. So a lot of people do get lost with CC Magic's user interface, and not having the ability to add notes or search specifically for whatever mods or CC. So also, yeah, no updates for a long time. So like what, over 10 years, it hasn't had an update. So that makes the program, as our technology in our computers get more advanced, it makes the program a lot more clunky, and it can cause a lot of issues. And to me, that's a big thing, because I want to trust the program where I'm putting all my stuff in, like CC and all that, right? When we go down to the pros here, newer utility, that because it is a newer program, it's going to be a lot more stable, and I'm going to feel more trusting with it using it. So yes, it's more stable than CC Magic in my opinion. It can detect bad CC and corrupt mods, so that's a huge thing. So the nice thing about the mod organizer is that it detects it when you're trying to install it, and then the program will freeze, and either it'll crash or you'll have to crash it. For bad CC, I'm not sure, I haven't had that issue, but I know Miss Pat, if you know who she is, she has tested out a lot of mods and she's made her own. I don't know everything about Miss Pat, but I just know a little bit. She's made her own mods for Sims 3 and that, so she knows a bit, you know, about coding and all this. But she tried to add some CC in the mod organizer, and it ultimately made the program crash. She talks about that in the comments surrounding the mod organizer on Mod the Sims. And so I had the same experience with a mod that I tried to put in, and the same thing, the program just froze and crashed. So yeah, that's a really good feature to have. It keeps your user files clean, therefore helps the game run smoother. So that's another huge thing. So obviously directory in your mods framework where you keep all your packages and your overrides and your mod, or where you keep all your CC in those files. Once you've transferred all that stuff over, the game, it doesn't have to tackle as much, and it'll ultimately make your game run a lot smoother. I mean, I've noticed it with my game, and that goes along with being able to merge your tuning mods and your script mods on etc. and all that into the program, so it keeps your user files clean. All right, the last pro I have here is that it detects conflicts that allows the user to fix or ignore depending, and I'll go over that more a little later while I'm going over the program. So opening up the program, I'm gonna first go over all the buttons on top. Did I have it open already? I can't remember. It won't open if I, oh yeah, I did. Okay, so I'm just gonna close this for now. All right, so now that you have kind of a better understanding of some of the good things and some of the bad things, I'll go over these buttons up on the top here. First, gonna go into the settings and let's get your game connected to the program and get it set up. So first you want to click on the settings icon up above, and this little pop-up window will pop up. So you'll want to put file path directory to your install executable up on the top here. So if you click on the three dots over here, this little button, it will take you to your Explorer where you want to go to wherever your Sims 3 is installed. For me, mine's on the D drive. So most of you will have yours on the C drive, program files, EA games, I believe it'll be in here. But if you're not sure, I actually can bring up a directory here. So depending on what platform you use, for Steam users, EA users, and Origin users, this is the path to your install folder here. Just ignore the last part here because that's just to your game worlds. Okay, so like I said, mine is on the D drive. So oops, I'm gonna go to my Sims 3 folder and then to game and then bin, and you'll see the regular executables here for the game. But if you do have the Lazy Duchess smooth patch, you're going to want to add her executable. So if you don't see it here, you're going to want to come down to the very bottom right, and there's a drop down menu. Just click on it and click on all executables, and then you'll see her executable there. So that's the one you're going to want to add if you do have her smooth patch and you don't have her launcher. If you do have the launcher, you don't need to add this one. You can just add the regular one. And then below that is your document. So you want to put in the file path to your user file. So your Electronic Arts Sims 3 documents file. Okay, so going over this and what it means, the build file size limit. So you can make this bigger or smaller. And what this is the mod organizer places a folder in your mods framework called mod builds here. And if you open this up, this is all your content merged into these packages here, which has a cap of 1 million kilobytes or 1000 megabytes or 1 gigabyte, whatever you can wrap your head around. And then once it's capped, then it creates a new one, and so on and so on. And like I've said before, once you have transferred all your content out of the mods framework folders into the mod organizer, the game will have less files that it has to read in here, less files it has to tackle, and therefore it does make your game run a lot smoother. And I can say that from my own experience. I've noticed a significant boost in game performance for myself. Also, I keep my size limit at 1000 megabytes. If you have a ton of CC and mods like 15, 20, 30, 40 gigabytes, you might want to just raise this up to maybe 2 or 3 gigabytes. So when your content is merged, you're not going to have so many of these files. So going over the priority and the Resource.cfg file, I just want to talk about it a little bit for those of you who are new to this and might not understand it. So the Resource.cfg file is the key to how the game reads your files in here, so all your content. And if you have other merging file or other merging programs like CC Magic or the mod organizer, it has a spot where you have to put that same exact code in order for everything to communicate with each other so your content shows up in your game. So when when you first get the mods framework from Mod The Sims, it comes with this Resource.cfg. It has a default kind of code, and I'll just bring it up here. So this is what you'll see inside if you open it up with Notepad. So you can add your own folders in here. They just have to be in the exact same format. So what this means is you can have nesting folders, right? So this would be your first folder, and then inside of that you can put 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5. If you want to have more nesting folders, you can put another line underneath and add a line and an asterisk, so then you can have 6 folders. So that's all that means. So you have to have the one in your framework, this one, exactly the same as the one in your mod organizer and the one in your CC Magic, depending on what programs you're using. So for mine, I do customize it a little bit just because of the way I like to have my folders. So before I had the mod organizer, I had another file in here that I created and I called it store, and that's for my store content. I don't want to go too far into that because that's a whole other video, and I actually have other videos all about that on my channel. But say if I didn't add the store file and I didn't customize this resource file, if I just had all my store content in packages here as normal, a lot of people do that, then any kind of store content mods you'd have to put in your overrides folder. So for organization and not having my overrides folder too full, I create a store folder, and then I have to edit the resource in order for the priorities so the game can read it properly. So this is the priority code down here. So I named the file store, obviously. So whatever you name a file, it's case sensitive in this code, right? So if it was all capitals, it'd have to be all capitals in here. So the reason why it's a lower priority is so that when I do put store content mods in my game, I can just put them as package files, and so I don't have to put them in overrides. And that's the only reason I do that. But either way is fine, however you want to organize it. So by default, basically your priority packages are at 500, and the packages that you put in the mod organizer, the packages that you put in CC Magic, they all should be at priority 500, and then your overrides would be at 1000, because any mods you put in overrides need to override your regular mods. And so you don't put your mods in overrides unless a creator specifically tells you to do that. Most of us know that, some of us may not. So that's why I'm mentioning it. As far as these test, and I don't know why I have 2 of them. I don't need them. And the probation, actually I could probably just get rid of these. They might regenerate, I'm not sure. But I don't use test folders or anything. Those are mostly for people that make their own mods or people that test mods and stuff like that. And then of course the priority for the mod organizer, the mod build is at 495 like it shows here, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So you just want to make sure, like I said, your resources are all matching or set exactly the same in order for them to communicate with each other. So underneath clear caches, of course this is where you can clear your caches like it says. I don't use this, I use the Regal save cleaner. Just set whatever caches you want to delete, of course, every time you press this little broom icon up here. It's not always good to clear caches every single time, but if you're in the middle of transferring all your files over, which we're going to get to next from your mods framework, and you know you're doing troubleshooting, installing, uninstalling, and you're going into your game just to see if your content is there, it's a good idea to clear your cache while you're doing that. But normally you don't have to worry about clearing it every single time you play your game. And just briefly before we get started, these buttons up here I'll just go over really quick. I'll go into it more later on, but this one here besides settings is the profiles button. So this is where you can add certain gameplay profiles like you would in CC Magic, and like I said, I'll show you how you can do that later on. This folder is where you can go into any of the game folders here. So your game folder, install folder, if you click on that, it should take you right into the bin folder where your install executables are and that. And then the one underneath it, it'll take you to your user folder, and then the one underneath this one is to take you to the mod organizer mods folder inside the program. And then like I mentioned earlier, this broom here is to clear your caches. This is your refresh, and then this is your build merge button just like in CC Magic. And then coming over here, way over here to the right, if this one's shining bright, this means that you have to rebuild your files. To transfer your content into the mod organizer, there's two different ways you can do that. So first, if you go into the Sims 3 mod organizer install folder where you extracted all those files, you'll see a mods folder up here. And if you open that up, here is where you can create all your folders depending on how you want to organize them. I do highly suggest to organize your content as separately as possible, because if you want to have your overrides in the mod organizer, you will be able to create another file within this folder and call it overrides, and make sure that the title is, you know, exactly the same as the one in your mods framework. So for your packages file, that's different. So you can't make a packages file in the program and then transfer all your custom content over into it, because then the mod organizer won't be able to read it. So any content that you have in your packages folder, say if you organized every single one in different folders, you can drag it over if you want, as long as the folders aren't more than 2 files nested. So for environmental mods, you can't create a file within this file and then like separate. So say if I wanted, okay, I want all my sky environmental mods to be in one folder and all my butterfly mods to be in one folder, you can't separate those and put them inside the folder, because the mod organizer won't read those files. And actually the mod organizer won't read any of your custom content if you do it that way. So just make sure to create files as separately as you can for all your package files. And like I said, if you have overrides mods, you're going to want to make a folder as well for that in here if you want to transfer everything out. For my store folder that I did have in here in my mods framework, I just created a new one in the mod organizer and put all my store content in there like it was in the mods framework folders. And I don't have my store folder in here anymore, because any other store content that I get will go into the mod organizer now. But I do keep my overrides and my packages just in case I want to have nesting folders. And like I said earlier, you just have to make sure your resource file is coded properly. The other way, if we go back here, we can open up the Sims 3 mod organizer and you can install your content with the install button. And this is the way I actually do it. I don't know, I just feel like it works better for me for some reason. So yeah, just click on that button there. I did leave a folder in my mods framework so I can show how this works, and in packages. So I have my artist kids collection. So this is bedroom decor. What I'm going to want to do is open up this folder and just highlight all that content. I'm going to click open, and then you're going to get this pop up. So I'm going to just name it artist underscore kids underscore decor and click OK. And so now that file is merged into, just let it do its thing, because if you don't let it run its scan first, you'll get a pop-up error message here. So that file will automatically show up at the very bottom. And so to enable it, you're going to want to click that check mark, and then you can put this, well, I'm going to put this file closer to the top because I do try to keep this section in alphabetical order, but then certain folders will have to go at the bottom at the higher priority, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. So now that that is merged in, you have to rebuild. This button shines bright, so you just click on rebuild. Much like CC Magic, well, exactly the same as CC Magic in that sense. Now that's done, so all that will be in the game. And like I said, you can organize this, you know, whatever works for you. Like I said, I try to keep it in alphabetical order, but in your mods folder, so this mods folder where you put all your stuff in, if you're doing it manually, it doesn't matter how it shows up in here, because it's going to show up as Explorer does anyways. It puts everything in alphabetical order. So this is the new one one I just merged in. So going back, like I said, the program will merge everything as the resource tells it to. So it reads the resource and it will follow the instruction of how to prioritize all your mods. But if you do see certain things that need to be more prioritized, like your overrides, you'll want to put that at the very bottom, with the priority being at the higher number. I do put my NRAS mods folder at the bottom, so I have almost all the NRAS mods and some modules, but I do keep that at the very top just because it makes more sense to me, even though it doesn't show a priority for that. I don't think, I mean, I'm pretty sure I could put it anywhere in this list and it would be fine. So every time you do drag and drop something in here, you will have to rebuild or refresh. So if you haven't guessed by now, obviously this is how you enable and disable your separate mods folders, by unchecking and checking these check marks. And like I said when I was going over the cons of the program, you can't go in and disable specific mods. You'll have to disable the whole folder. If I'm troubleshooting or whatever, I'll just go in and take a mod out separately and then put it back in instead of disabling. That's the only downfall I find for this program. Other than that, it's not a deal breaker for me. Also, you want to make sure, let me just close this, so when you are transferring your mods over from the mods framework, that you're not leaving duplicates in here, or you'll get duplicates in your game. So you're going to want to just come in here and make sure you delete the folders in here that you've transferred over. I've noticed that some people were asking if the program recognizes if you install Sims 2 content accidentally or Sims 4 content. Well, I don't have any Sims 2 custom content, but I do have Sims 4 custom content. So I'll just show you an example of what happens if you accidentally try to install a Sims 4 Sims 2 package file that doesn't belong in the program. So I'm going to go up here and click on install, and I'm just going to navigate to that certain folder. So this is it here. It's Sims 4, and so I'm going to click open and say it's bedroom. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm just going to call it, I wanted to create a new folder like this anyways. So actually, oh, it shows I still have that folder. I thought I deleted it. Okay, well then I can just show you how you can merge new content into folders too at the same time I'm showing you this. What you want to do, if you want to merge it into an already existing folder, then you have to name it here exactly how it is in the folder, of course. So let's go bedroom _ furniture, and I'll click OK. And then it'll ask me, or it'll say bedroom furniture already existed, merge into folder, and potentially replaces. It just gives you a bit of a warning that you might be replacing certain files, but I know I'm not. So I am going to click yes, let it scan, and then it'll tell me that I have to rebuild, of course. So this is what happens. I'm going to rebuild it. You're going to get an error message. So this happens if you are trying to put in, like I said, Sims 2 mods or Sims 4 mods, or if the file is corrupt. So say if you are installing, say, 4 or 5 different pieces of custom content, kind of like what Miss Pat was doing with her poses, and she's doing it in small batches. And that's another thing, always try to merge or transfer everything over in smaller batches. So what will happen is if there is a piece of custom content within all the ones that you're trying to transfer over, it will pop up this error message, and it'll tell you exactly which one it is here at the bottom. And that's the same with corrupt mods. This is what will happen. So if you click quit or continue, so if I click quit, you can just go out of it. If you click continue, the program will freeze, and then you'll have to shut it down with Task Manager and reopen it. But make sure you get rid of that piece of content first. So I'm going to go in and just delete it, so that way when I open the program up again, it will actually open. All right, so now that I have a little bit of CC that I put in the mod organizer, I want to go into my game and make sure that it's all there and everything's working properly. So the first thing you're going to want to do is clear that cache, and like I said, I use Regal Cleaner, so I'm just going to open that up. Regal Save Cleaner, I should say. So I'm just going to click on Clear Cache. So this is the same as in the mod organizer. Pretty much you just click on whatever caches that you want deleted before running the game. Clear now, and that's done. All right, so I just wanted to make sure that that artist decor that I put in the program is actually going to show up. So I'm going to just go into buy and build, grab this parking space here and go in to, I believe for the Artist Kids collection, it's kind of all over the place. So, well, here's the Artist Kids bed, so that's there. And for the decor, I'm gonna go into the walls decor, and I see it here. So this is the Artist Kids decor here. I think there's one in, let's go into desks. Yeah, Artist Kids desk, and well, I know they're all here. I'm not going to pull every single one out, but I think there's one in living room. Okay, rugs, right. It is Artist Kids palette rug. Yeah, really cute decor for the kids' room. I love it. So that's all showing up fine. And so I'm going to try not to play and go out of it now. All right, so one of the most important things that this mod organizer does that differentiates it from CC Magic is how it handles mods conflicts. If you read the article I suggested in part 1, I know a lot of us don't like to read anything, so that's why I'm gonna go over this. But it does explain it in here on how you're not gonna see a lot of conflicts between cast items like your hair or your you know, anything to do with casts or objects and that. So what the program is doing is, and I'm gonna try and explain this the best I can, because I know that this is where a lot of people do get kind of intimidated and confused with the program. So the conflicts that it detects is basically only with your script mods and your tuning mods. So if you did read this article here, then you'll understand that conflicts aren't necessarily like an emergency thing to take care of or a bad thing. It says right here, tuning mods conflicts do not mean your game will explode, okay? And tuning mods conflicts do not cause your game to lag. So as it's transferring and merging your content, it will pick a resource winner. So if there is 2 mods that are sharing the same resources, it will typically just pick a winner, and those are the resources that will override the other resource. It doesn't delete the resource, but it will override the resource. So this is what it's telling you here underneath the flags. So when you see a thunder and a minus, that means that there is a mod in this folder that is partially being overwritten. And then when you come down here to this other folder where you see a thunderbolt and a plus sign, that means that this is partially overriding another mod within one of these folders above it, right? And it also has a minus sign, so it's also being partially overwritten by another mod above it. So this box here, if you see this, that means that there are mods within this folder that are conflicting with each other. So how I want to explain this is that conflicts are showing up in the mod organizer, but they're showing up as they should show up. It's just telling you what is happening. If there is an actual bad conflict within a couple mods and you notice it in your game, then that's where you're going to want to really go in and take care of it. But a lot of times you don't have to, okay? Because a lot of these flags are showing false positives. So it's showing what the files need to be doing, and it'll also show conflicts between the same creator. So if the same creator has a bunch of different mods, it's going to show conflicts between that, and that's normal. Tuning mods that go in your override is going to show conflicts as it should, because it needs to be overriding other mods in your folders. So I'm going to go over that a little bit more, but first I wanted to explain a little bit too about Delphi's dashboard. So a lot of people have been saying, well, why don't I just use Delphi's dashboard? You know, that's good enough. Okay, so how this program differentiates with Delphi's dashboard and with CC Magic, to be honest. So even if you're using CC Magic, yes, Delphi's dashboard is a great program to use for conflicts, but it does give you a lot of conflicts that aren't true, I guess you would say, because Delphi's dashboard does not have a resource file, right? So it can't detect what is overriding what, or what's supposed to override what. So that's another reason why this program is really great. It goes a little deeper than Delphi's dashboard, as it will actually show you the resources that are conflicting with each other. And if you want to go in and delete one of those resources, you can without deleting or choosing one mod over the other, which is a nice thing as well. So I'll show you what I mean. All right, so I'll go over how it works the best I can. So when you click on one of these folders here, so I'm going to start with my flagged folders here. So I'm going to start with Annie Mods, and a lot of you know who she is and the mods that she makes. So I have her bistro mod, and I have her chicken mod. That's a farming mod. So her chicken mod is a store related content mod, and I was talking about that earlier as when you're putting your store content in a folder and your priorities, how your store content mods are a priority over your store content. So when you click on that particular folder on your right panel here, you're gonna see all the package files and the mods that are within that folder. So this Annie Mods is telling me, well, one of these mods in here is being overwritten by another mod. So what I'm gonna do is just double click this Annie Mods. And so this little error message, it comes up quite often when you're opening up these windows for some reason. The creator, Goker, did mention this in the comments section on Mod The Sims, so you can just ignore this. So just close it. It doesn't do anything. When you open up the window, you're gonna see either up above or below what is conflicting with each other. Clicking on the first resource, right? So these are resources that are conflicting with each other. So pieces of the mod, whatever puts that mod together, right? So those are the resources, however that's coded. It's just saying that this tag here is mlod. So it's showing me that Annie's chicken mod is overriding my Fowl and Feathers chicken coop content, right? So that's my store content, and it tells you right here under the tag here. So it's telling me that her chicken mod, which is connected to that content because her chicken mod is a mod specifically made for the Fowl and Feathers chicken coop. And it's telling me that the thumb as well, so the thumbnail is also sharing the same resource. So if I was to open up Annie's chicken in the Sims 3 package editor and open up the Fowl and Feathers chicken coop in the Sims 3 package editor, they would both have the same resource. So if I wanted, I could go in and delete Annie's chicken thumb tag resource, right? It wouldn't break the mod or my content. It would still be there because Fowl and Feathers chicken coop has the same resource. So basically what this means is that it's a false positive, and that means it's because the mod organizer is doing what it's supposed to do by choosing this resource over the resource in this content and overriding that resource. So I'm not going to go in and delete it. I have no issues with my chicken mod or my Fowl and Feathers chicken content. It's just doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's basically, these are the kind of conflicts that you can ignore anyways. So let me go back. Okay, so coming down to autonomy mods. For my autonomy mods, it's showing here on the right side all my package files within this folder. So when I click on this, it's also showing that these red lines show up, and so it's showing me what files are overriding this one, right? So like I said, this flag is a thunder with a minus, so it's showing me that whatever is in this file and whatever is in like my store file and whatever is in my overrides is overriding my autonomy mods folder, right? So if I go into my autonomy mods first, and it's showing me that these resources are overriding a resource in these mods here. Okay, so when I look at this mod here on the top, I see my take showers, relieve bladder, brush teeth faster mod, and it's telling me that it's overriding a resource in my sunlit tides content. But it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do because it needs to override my sunlit tides content because there is a shower and a bathtub. So this mod has to override that anyways, right? So that's a false positive. So coming down to the second one, my Fun in the Sun mod, it's telling me that it's overriding a certain resource or sharing a certain resource in an overrides mod that I have in here. So because these two mods are related, the reason why they're related is because I have a bunch of autonomy mods by Nvidia that overrides other mods that I have. This is another false positive because it's just doing what it's supposed to do. And that's the same with my 2 Feet Mama less autonomous watch baby swing. I have that mod and it's overriding my store content, which is my deluxe baby swing, which I want it to do, right? So that's another false positive. Don't have to do anything with that. So let's go down the list a little bit more. So I'm going to go into my food cook mods. Okay, so I have Buzz and I have a few others here. So it's telling me that there's script mods that are overriding those food cook mods or something in there. So I'm going to double click on that as well. What's happening here is because I put a Buzz food mod in 2 separate folders and it's with the same creator. They're sharing the same resource, but they're the same creator, and so that's a false positive. There's nothing to worry about there. So coming down to my kids baby script mods, I'm going to click on that. So now that's showing me again that there's something in the store file and there's something in the overrides file that's overriding something in my kids baby script mods. Okay, so of course when I click on it, it's showing me I have all my kids mods and I have a lot of those. So I'm going to come down and actually click on my store file here. So here it shows the Thunder and the plus, so it's showing that some of my store content is overriding some mods underneath it, and some mods inside this file are conflicting with each other, but it's showing all false positives. And the reason I know that is because if we refer back into that article I keep talking about right here, I'll just read it. Custom content, non-scripted objects, aka just plain old CC. When it comes to non-scripted custom content like game objects or cast parts, you really have no worry about conflicts. Some custom content, whether it comes from EA or from other creators, share resources and will come packaged with resources you may already have from other pieces of custom content. Only one copy of the resources get loaded into the game, so it's really not a big deal. So that answers that. So all these flags here you don't have to worry about. Okay, so I also want to just go into another issue here. So I'm gonna double click on the store file again. There is also a duplicates that I want to just show you here. So I find a conflict between my store items set Bohemian Gardens and my custom world items, which belongs to Drunningslund. So that's a set of items that go with a custom world that I have. And what I do is I'll go down and I'll try to find the thumb resource, which I found here, and then I will look at the last 4 characters at the end of the ID. So I see here 60A9 because I want to know what item is conflicting, right? So what I'll do is I'll close that and I'll go back to my custom world folder. I'll come over to the right here and I'll find the Drunningslund CC merge package that it said it was conflicting with, and I'll open that up. So up here there's a tab, content, and this gives you like a read only of all the resources, just like in Sims 3 package editor, but you can't edit anything in here. You can just look at it. Okay, so I'm going to look for that thumb resource. It's the tag, so I'll just look under tag here, and I know that there's only one resource called thumb, so it's kind of easy to find, right? And so when I click on it, and I know it's the right one because it says 60A9 at the end. When I look at it over here on the right, there's a picture which is really blurred out, but I know exactly what it is because when I'm in my game in by build, I see that I have duplicates of the same. It's the string lights, and plus it says it up here, lighting wall string, and it says Bohemian. What probably happened was when I installed the items for that custom world, Drunningslund, it probably did mention, because there was a lot of information, that make sure that you don't have part of Bohemian set in your game. So that's probably what happened. So I can just go through in Sims 3 package editor and just delete it out of there, right? So I don't have the duplicate. Okay, also in my store folder, I wanted to go over quickly here the alfresco market set items. So that includes for Mont Vista, right? The veggie fruit stand and the lemonade stand. And then there's the Animod's produce stand. So these are conflicting. So let me bring her mod on Mod The Sims, and you go through all this information before you download it, hopefully. Whoops. She tells you right at the bottom here, conflict here. So it says right here, this mod is cloned from the Mont Vista stand. So if you have a mod that alters those resources, animations, sounds, this mod will conflict. So again, conflict. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to make anything break or not work. Whatever resource that those stands share, one is going to override the other. And so like she says in the comment here that it's the animations and the sounds. And so that's these tags here, AUDs, audio, and then the clips are obviously the animations. So that's all that is. So basically that's a false positive. So I'm hoping I'm making sense so far. Let's go down to my overrides here. When I click on this, it's showing what it's supposed to show. So it's showing that it's overriding different mods in my packages. It's also showing that there is mods within this file that are conflicting with each other, but these are all just showing what it's supposed to show, because like I said, when the mod organizer transfers your mods in the game, it picks its winners and it ignores its losers, and that's what it's showing here. This is by the same creator, and those conflicts are false positives, like they're supposed to be. It of course shows that overrides is overriding that file like it's supposed to, so that's a false positive. So if I go into my overrides, it's going to show me everything that it's basically overriding in here. So my playground toddlers slide, so it's overriding the actual item in instance object that I got from around The Sims, and I put that in my object script mods, whatever it's, or my kids script mods, folder. So it's just showing that that mod that I have in my overrides is overriding that object like it's supposed to do. And that's the same with my canning station, right? So I have a mod in my overrides that you're supposed to put in your overrides, so it can override the canning station that comes with the old mill sets, which shows that it's overriding that in my store file. So all those resources are doing what it's supposed to do. The same with the CC merge. So I've talked about CC merge and store content in some of my other videos on my channel, and so this is a really important well, you have to have this file in order for all your store content to work. And so you can get one from Nona, and she has the fully updated one that goes in and fixes all the missing resources that are broken in your store content. So you put that CC merged in overrides, and it'll fix the resources that it needs to fix related to that store content, which it's showing that it's doing, and it's showing exactly what it's supposed to do. But like I said, as far as like CAS items and that objects and that, you're not going to see really any conflicts between each other. There is one in my eyes CAS here, but it's a false positive. It's both by S Club. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. So those ones you don't have to worry about either. Most of the issues that you're going to see in here are just false positives. Like I said, if you do go in your game and you see issue between a couple mods, at least you'll know according to this what the resources are. And so you can go into Sims 3 package editor and delete those duplicate resources, decide which one is going to override the other, Animod store. So if I did decide I wanted to go in and delete these resources, I would decide that Alfresco Market, my store content's going to win over Animods. So instead of having to feel like I need to delete Annie's mod altogether, get rid of the produce stand, you know, I don't have to do that. I can just delete the resources. And that way my store content stays intact as well in case I want to get rid of Animods, because my store content is more important to me. So that covers conflicts. I hope you have a better understanding of it now. I know that this might be a lot of information all at once for some people, and I'm hoping I'm not overwhelming more than you already might be. So make sure if you do have any questions to leave it it below in the comments there. Anyways, moving on, I want to go over the profiles now. So if you are familiar with CC Magic, you can make your own game style profiles in that mod. So you can do the same here. So just click on that button there and it'll bring this little window up, and this is where the default is how you have all your folders already enabled. You want to click on add here, and I never use profiles for my game, but if I was, let's say it would be a no CC gameplay, so I just put no CC and click OK. I'll just close that now, and then when I click on the drop down button up here, it'll say no CC. There's my new profile and everything will be disabled, and then you can just click on the play button way over here on the right and go into your game, and you'll have no custom content. And in order to remove it, you just want to make sure you're not on the same profile, so you'll have to go back to your default profile, go into your settings here and just click on that profile and click remove, and it'll be gone. Also, there's a folder in the mod organizer folder here, so if you open it up, under mods, there's a profiles folder. So you can go in here and create your own folders in here manually too, and create your own profiles, but this is where all your profiles will be stored. So that's it for setting up profiles. So that's the end of this tutorial. Keep your eye out for my third video. If it's not out yet, go check it out. If you are someone who has CC Magic and wants to transfer your CC over, or you want to use it alongside this mod, that video will show you all about that. It won't be as long as this video but it'll be short and sweet, I promise. Anyways, I hope you have a great day and happy simming. Until next time.